And my parents used to force me to get a buzz cut every time, like a week before school starts, because I never took care of my hair, man. It got long, but it was just nappy and shit, and it was unmoisturized. It was just dry and brittle as hell. So, my parents saw that the only option for me to like kind of save my hair, was to just buzz it off. Take me to the barbershop, get like number one or number two on the barbershop. Like they hang those pictures up in a barbershop. They always shows number one or number two. Got me looking like Little Bill, but I was kind of asking for it because I didn't take care of my hair. And I decided I wanted to change that, man. So it was back in, I would say in 2020, my freshman year, I got like my sort of first haircut. Not like a haircut where they like shaved my head, but like a haircut, it was like a drop fade. And I grew out my hair from there. I tried to be consistent in my hair care habits, but you know how that goes. My first time, I was not consistent. I neglected my trims. You're supposed to trim your ends. And I used to pick my hair daily in the beginning of my hair growth journey. So when my hair got long, it was just kind of thinned out and damaged. So I cut off all my hair again, this time willingly. Cut down my hair to like 4 inches of hair length back in summer 2024. And from that time period up until now, I've been really consistent in my hair care habits, and my hair has been in its healthiest state since. It is long and healthy. So if you don't know me, I'm Josh J Showcase. I'm formerly on TikTok, but I'm here to expand my insights here on YouTube. Really detailed insights and longer form content for the people that really benefit from this type of content. I help thousands of guys through my content just improve their hair to make them look more presentable as a black man, so they're not forced to get those haircuts, those buzzes from their parents if they're younger. So yeah, if you're in that boat, you're about to cut off all your hair because it's just damaged and thinned out, I'm here to give y'all some tips so y'all could bounce back quick after the buzz, and you don't have to cut off all of your hair again, when you buzz your hair. So as you grow your hair out, your hair won't be damaged again. And in this specific part, this is part 2 of that. Part 1 is already posted on my channel. This will just focus on less manipulation, moisture retention, and just avoiding that dramatic, awkward stage. So first, we're gonna just focus on moisture retention first off. And a tip that I'm gonna give for y'all is the LCO/LOC method, which is just a moisturizing method that, in my opinion, is way better than that traditional moisturizing method. That traditional moisturizing method of just applying product to your hair every single day to try to moisturize your hair. The former method that I talked about, the LOC/LCO method, is way better at moisturizing your hair, and you'll get little to no product buildup, saves time, and it even protects your hair even more because the sequence of products you will use. So what is LCO and the LOC method? So it's just an acronym, a sequence of products that you apply to your hair. So the L, the first part, if you're talking about LOC, the L stands for liquid, which is water, and the O stands for oil, a hair oil, any hair oil, and the C stands for a cream or a leave-in conditioner. And if you were using the LCO, you just swap out the oil with the cream. Like you just use the cream first and then the oil. And the sequence of products just depends on your hair porosity, which is basically, porosity is your hair's ability to absorb moisture and keep it in your hair. So LCO is best for low porosity and LOC is best for high porosity. And if you don't know your hair porosity yet, you could just dabble between both of these methods, try out both of these methods, and whichever one gives you the least amount of product buildup and the most moisture, you stick to it. And like I said, it saves time to do this method because you only do this method once a week, and that is right after washing your hair. You don't have to re-moisturize your hair again throughout the week with another single product. Or if you want to, you could just use a water-based leave-in conditioner in the middle of the week if your hair tends to lose moisture a bit faster. And if you just want more information about the LOC method, even a video demonstration, along with me explaining several other essential tips that can really transform your hair growth journey and help you bounce back faster after a buzz cut. Or if you just want more tips on how to grow out your hair so you can look more presentable as a black man, you can get those styles, those cornrows, those twists. You have a video course that is linked in the description below. It is the first link below, and it will just take you on a roadmap, a framework that, in my opinion, is the most essential hair care habits that you need to follow so you're not stuck doing this bullshit, the ones habits that don't bring about much progress in your hair growth journey. So yeah, you can go check that out. The price is low right now because I'm actually going to add some bonus modules such as bonus styling tips that you can do for your hair and even a self haircut tutorial in the future. So just grab it right now where the price is low because it's going to increase. So yeah, back to it, man. So now that we have covered moisture retention, we're now going to cover less manipulation. And one of the haircut habits or the tools that you may have been using on your shorter hair was that sponge, you know, that black and red sponge that just sucks the moisture out of your hair. We're gonna dish that sponge for now because that is ruining your hair. Especially when you use it every day, the amount of manipulation you're putting your hair through with that black and red sponge, over manipulation on your hair, and you probably do it on dry hair. So there's a lot of friction when you do it, you know, when you rub it around in circular motions around your hair every day. This is so much friction and it's just killing your hair. And that's why you end up with that boneless afro that you had to cut off and now you're just going through this phase where you have the buzz cut, you're trying to grow it out. We could have avoided all of that if we just use something that can, you know, still add texture to our afro, but at the same time, not just ruining our hair because of the over manipulation and the excessive friction. So I have two options for y'all to, you know, try to like define or texturize your hair, you know, because you don't want to just walk out with that pig afro, you know. Personally, I don't like that look. When your afro is just like that picked out afro look, I just don't like it. So I understand why you use a sponge. So if you still want to use a sponge, here's the first option. You can use a sponge that has material that does not suck the moisture out of your hair, which I know a brand called Twistkin that has this sort of like rubber material. So it will not just absorb all that moisture when you know, rub the sponge around your hair. So you can actually keep that moisture in your hair if you previously moisturized your hair. Because moisturized hair is a great foundation for healthier hair growth because your hair is just naturally strong. If you're still iffy about the sponge, you know, you heard all these stories about people losing more hair with the sponge, even with the Twist King. You can still find other methods to try to define your hair, such as the shingling method, shake method as your hair gets longer, and the twist out method as your hair gets longer as well. In my opinion, those methods are way better and healthier for your hair. If you want video demonstrations on how to, you know, define your curl pattern and just style your hair as your hair gets longer and healthier, you can just head over to my TikTok, Josh J Showcase. I have many videos demonstrating how to do that. Now, we're gonna go on, we'll try to avoid that dramatic, awkward stage. So we're gonna get you right with the right type of haircut. You know, say if you get a buzz, right? You get this high fade, like this bald fade. As your hair gets longer, you're gonna enter this awkward stage. So like the top of your hair is just long, but like the sides are just extremely short. You got like half an inch right here and like 3 inches of hair right here. And then you got like little baby hairs in the back and you just stuck with this. This stage will last for several months because when your hair is shorter, you can't just like hang down your hair over like those sides to try to like cover up all that awkwardness and that dramatic like look that you have on your hair. And especially when you finally get those protected styles, your hair is finally gets longer for like those cornrows, they're gonna look extremely awkward on you, let me tell you, bro, because like the cornrows would just like start like right here. As you braid all the way to the back, you could barely grab some hair in the back to braid it, so you're just stuck like with those. I'll just say like your cornrows won't hang down over your neck, even if your hair is long. So yeah, we just want to avoid that dramatic awkward stage because let me tell you, that's gonna ruin your confidence when you're growing out your hair. So the best type of haircut that you could get to try to grow out your hair is any taper. Which really, I recommend getting the low taper if you're getting a buzz because it will look less dramatic on you than a high taper. You can see I have a high taper right now. And you can see how it looks less dramatic on me because my hair just naturally just hangs down over some of that taper. If you have a buzz cut, if you have shorter hair, that high taper is going to look very dramatic on you, but still, it's still a good foundation for growing out your hair. Any taper, really. And that's if you decide to get a haircut. You don't have to get a haircut when you're trying to grow out your hair. You could just get like a simple lineup with no taper. But if you want a haircut with like a little fade, just get a taper fade. A taper fade would just make you look more clean and masculine. And also, I want to talk about front tapers because a lot of y'all are considering getting front tapers, and I'm going to explain, well, if you don't know what a front taper is, it's basically like, you know, tapered on the sides, but instead it's in the front. As you can see right here, I have a front taper. And if you're planning on, you know, spamming these protective styles like cornrows or twists, get a front taper so your hair gets long enough for that. Because especially if you get cornrows, you know, you get these braided roots. If you really don't have a front taper, the braided roots are going to start on your hairline, and they can actually pull on your hairline, especially if the braids are tight. And over time, this spamming of protective styles over time will just lead to something called traction alopecia. It will increase your risk of traction alopecia. So you will just end up with these thinning corners, like the thinning hairline, like your hairline is being pushed back by this excessive tension. And a way to avoid all this is just getting the front taper and not getting those tight ass styles. And I would say if you have like thinning corners, a maturing hairline, like me, as you can see my hairline, like my corner right there is kind of thinned out. I would recommend getting a front taper if you're kind of self-conscious about it, because getting a front taper, your thinning corners are not, you know, directly affecting your actual hair. The thinning corners would just only kind of affect the front taper, and as your hair gets longer, you can actually kind of hang down your hair so it could cover those thin corners. But I would say if you're going to have your afro out 90% or even 100% of the time, a front taper isn't necessary. And if you don't have any signs of like thin corners or a maturing hairline, and you don't decide to get these protective styles to grow out your hair, a front taper isn't necessary. Also, back to the protective styles, if you get cornrows and you don't have a front taper, or any like slight taper at all, you're gonna look like someone's auntie. So yeah, man, that's it. I just shared some insight for y'all in this video so that you can bounce back quicker after getting a buzz, and you know, you don't have to cut off your hair again as you grow out your hair once you just got that buzz. Come back to this video if you need some more insight, and I'll see y'all in the next one.